right, everyone. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the trades for today. Uh, Not a big green day. I'm up $30.36, and I'm calling it a day, a little on the early side. I'm in New York this week, and the pre-market window ends pretty much at 9:30. Well, officially it ends at 9:30 because that's when pre-market ends and regular trading hours begin. Now I'm happy to trade into regular trading hours, but specifically when things are moving, because pre-market is when stocks have news, and then the open, starting at 9:30, the opening range until 10, and then from 10 until noon, that's when the stocks are reacting from the news they had pre-market. So on a day like today, to Monday morning, we've got no news. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but we don't have any news that's given some real, solid price action for anything. I sat down a little after 7 and I traded INDO. Now, INDO, for those who missed it because you weren't logged in as early, you really didn't miss anything at all. I'm only up $30 on it, and it was choppy. So what happened was it started to pull away right in this area here. It starts to squeeze up from 5 up to 520, 530, 540. And I actually took my first trade it was right here at 537. I was like, okay, looks like my 1 minute micro pullback. I'm looking for the next leg up, and then it dumps down to 519. So I stopped out of that, lost $500, which was kind of silly. It bounces right back up here to 546. I was like, unbelievable. All right, typical. Then it drops again. And when it starts to bounce up, this time I bought. And I was like, I'm going to catch the bounce back up. And it squeezes up here to 547. So I got some profit. It pulls back. And then I did a small add up here. And I sold on the way up to 70. So, and when I added back down in this area, I didn't add full size. So I took a starter. So I ended up making back the 500 I lost, and then it kind of stalled out. Now, the thing with INDO, it's an energy stock, Indonesian Energy. It's Indonesia Energy Corp. It's a stock that made a really big move. If we look back on the daily chart it must have been was it 2022? Yeah, okay. So right there, look at that. Holy smokes. This thing went from like $4 to $100 just about. And when that happened, HUSA, and there were dozens of energy stocks that were going crazy at the same time. So that was sort of a hot cycle that we had. HUSA, similarly here, went from like $2 up to 16. So anyways, with INDO popping up a little bit, I was like, all right, I'll give it a stab. But it made a nice move yesterday, or on Friday rather, but it didn't really hold up super well, dropped down. So I thought maybe if we break through yesterday's high, we could get some continuation, but that was a no-go. Now, some of you guys who got in a little early started dipping your toe in the water on ONBO, HUBC, and I was like, guys, these are so thickly traded. So what do I mean by thickly traded? Let's look at the level 2 on ONBO. ONBO, this thing is stacked. This level 2 is so thickly traded. They're just stacks of buyers, stacks of sellers. It moves like a snail. You're not going to get 20, 30 cents on this. Unlikely. And as you know, I pay a fee with my broker when I route my trades. So some of you who are using free commission brokers, you don't pay any fees at all, which is great. But the broker that I'm using, and I've been using since 2017, when I started this small account challenge, as soon as I was over 25 grand, I started using this broker. So, I've got a lot of history with them. I like them. They've been good. It's kind of a pain to switch. Anyways, they do charge a commission. It's $1 for every trade I take. I have discounted pricing because I've been trading with them for so long. But I also pay a routing fee for every share. And so when I do a 10,000 share order, 10,000 shares direct routed, well, I actually pay almost half a penny per share. It's like $40. So round trip, buying and selling 10,000 shares is going to be like $80. And it adds up. So I'm actually going to be red today after fees and commissions by probably like $50 or $70, which it doesn't really matter. But when I see a stock like ONVO, because I know my first penny is going to fees and commissions, I'm asking myself if I can make 15, 20 cents on it. Because I don't want to have my commissions be 30% of my profit. That's who am I working for? At that point, I'm working for I'm working for NASDAQ, who I direct route with. I'm not even getting paid. So it doesn't really make sense. So anyways, so some of the cheaper ones that are grinders, I tend to leave alone. I know some of the commission-free traders like them, but I leave them alone. And everything today was lower priced. Now we did have rent, RENT. This one, you know, we had a couple days where it squeezed at the open. As you know, I traded it Thursday, Friday, lost on it 4,000 on Friday, and then made it back. Today, it's selling off. And it's selling off kind of hard. I mean, right now it's already halted down once, was up at 22.50, now it's at 16. So anyone who is thinking, oh, this is going to give us a nice trade at the open, like it did yesterday, wrong, incorrect. You might get a reversal down here, but I just don't feel like messing around with that. LGVN, this one's got a lower float. It's hitting the scans. It is a nice move, double top up here, resistance. However, we've got this red candle back here, and it had 50 million shares of volume, had a lot of volume, it just sold off all day long. So now you've got a lot of bag holders from these levels up here, between 3 and 4. So now you're coming into this area where you're going to start to see resistance, I think. Now maybe it'll grind higher. It could. It's seemingly doing well right now, which makes it, it's kind of starting to take position as a more obvious stock. But one of the challenges that I have is my window each day, begins at 7 a.m., more or less. And my first goal is to try to cross over $1,000 of profit. Once I'm up over $1,000, then I start to lean in, size up, get more aggressive. And my window kind of ends at about 10 or 11 a.m. Now, there's some days where if I have a really big cushion, I'll keep trading, but it's actually so rare that I would have no trades at this point and then take my first trade at this time of the day and end up hitting my daily goal. And in fact, what is much more common is that I would have no trades until now, and then I would finally take a trade and I'll lose. And then I'll just be like, well, shoot. And now it's almost 10, 11 a.m. I'm coming to the end of my window. And I look back on days like that and I think, you would have been better off just having the patience to just sit out. And so that's what I'm going to try to exercise today. Now, my routine is a little off because I'm on my traveling trading station. I got to be a little bit careful that I don't push my luck, get myself a little emotionally fueled. I did have a red day on Friday. Now, it wasn't a big red day, but, I did have a red day on Friday. And a small red day today is not a big deal, but it's very common that red days will be clustered together when the market starts to get slow and choppy. So here we have AISP hitting the scans. AISP, this is an old friend. We're familiar with this stock. Daily chart, it's above the 200, sort of bouncing off that level. But is there a catalyst? Does it have a reason to be moving up today? I don't see any news, right? So the news window's right here. I see it immediately, and I don't see any fresh headlines. So as a result, how can I really feel confident taking a trade on it, especially on a day where it doesn't feel like there's a lot of momentum? LGVN back down at 285. Nice squeeze, but the first pullback doesn't even get bought up, or does it just roll over? Well, sadly, on a day like today, it has a higher likelihood of just rolling over. So SNGX is the leading gapper. It's cheaper. ONVO is cheaper. There's a few others that are on the scans that are cheaper today. And I'll tell you guys, I know how frustrating it feels to come in here, to sit down, and to come up short. You want to trade. You want to be active. What am I doing if I'm not actively trading? I'm just wasting my time. So I get that feeling. I have it myself. If possible, and this isn't possible for everyone, but if possible, I think it would be really great if you're able to set up a second form of income that you could be doing parallel to trading. So it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you could be building a ship in a bottle and selling it on Etsy, but something where you feel like my time is, there's value for my time. No, not driving Uber. You should not be driving and trading. That's very funny. Um, Doing something where you can be present and watching, the scans, but where you can also be doing something on the side that has the potential to produce a little bit of side hustle income, a little bit of revenue, whatever that might be. And I guess I have that because, I mean, I've built the software for Warrior Trading, and there's always something that I can focus on there. And I have YouTube, and I can always work on some videos there and stuff. But some of those are not actually as easy to do in parallel. But in any case, you get the idea. I think if you can find something like that, that can be good because, number one, diversifying your income is important. All people out there, pretty much all the people out there who find a lot of success have multiple streams of revenue. And the thing that does is it mentally takes the pressure off that any one particular stream has to be the end all be all. You'll have times where trading is really good, and then you'll have times where trading is slow. And that's where you have something else. And I know a ton of our members here, Warrior Trading, are business owners. You've got your whatever you sell, small business. You run a small business, and so you're doing that too. And you're like, I'm going to add trading in as something I can, mix in for 2 hours a day in the morning, which has the potential to boost a little bit of cash flow to my business. And on days when trading is really strong, maybe you divert a little more attention to the trading side. And on days and weeks when it's a little slow, you divert a little attention to the other side. And I think that that's really awesome if you're able to do it. Now, for me, when I first got started trading, I wasn't really able to do that in a meaningful way. I wanted to, but I just couldn't quite figure out how to do it. I think today you guys have a lot more options than I had when I was getting started. And I had an advantage when I was getting started, which was that my cost to live in Vermont was very low. And, I didn't have children, and I didn't have the expenses I have today and that you tend to have as you get a little older. But in any case, it's just making the best of the set of cards that you're dealt and trying where you can to make some strategic decisions that can improve the mindset that you come to the table with. Because when you come to the table with that sense of scarcity and desperation, you're going to pressure yourself to press the buttons every single day, even when the right decision on some days is not to trade at all. And when you come to the market with a sense of, being that's my water, actually. When you come to the table with a sense of abundance,
this is my water.
That's my water too, actually, but you can have it.
But this is actually my water.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you come to the table with a sense of abundance, then anything you gain is just like a net positive. You're gaining experience on a day like today. So I don't need to take individual, if I don't take a lot of trades or I don't make a lot of money today, that's okay because I still gain some experience. Hey, you know what I can gain today? I can gain some discipline. I'm keeping myself in check. I'm not doing anything crazy. That's a good day. That's a success. So you're able to see the small victories, and I think that again, it starts to create that positive feedback loop. Okay, so anyways, this is a very uneventful recap, I suppose, for you guys because I don't have any big trades for today, but some words of wisdom, and I wish you guys the best if you do continue trading today, but manage your risk given the fact that things seem a little choppy. And I'll be back at it tomorrow, same as always, looking for something with news squeezing up specifically in the first, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so thanks as always for tuning in. Reminder, as always, hey, if I didn't mention it already, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow. And those tuning in for the recap on YouTube, I hope you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.